So welcome to my tour of 221 Marcotte Road. We're driving down Marcotte now, and if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't even notice this little driveway right here. But this is where we're headed. And once you go down this driveway, you're really entering a whole new world. Normally, I would walk you down this driveway because it's just such a beautiful walk, but that would take way too long. So instead, I'm driving today just to make this a reasonably lengthy video. As we go down this driveway, we're just driving straight away from the road. So the farther we go, the farther away we are from the world. Right now we're passing the first field on the right. This used to be a hay field, but right now we just let it go to wildflowers. Keep going. And now we're passing the second field, which was also a hay and fodder field. But this field has a fun little clubhouse in it. That bunch of trees there is hollow in the middle, and there's a giant boulder, and that's why the trees grow up around it, because it's hard to mow near it. So after decades and decades, you end up with that. And the kids have made a cute little clubhouse in there. And it has like a treasury and a jail and a kitchen. Adorable. Keep going down the driveway. This little median right here is famous because there are two bunnies that have made it their home. And I'm surprised we don't see them now, but usually when you drive down, they're nibbling on this grass. I think they like it here because the hawks can't get them from above, so it's the perfect little place. This right here is the old hen house where they used to keep the chickens. This is the old barn. This thing is hundreds and hundreds of years old, and it was added onto over the decades and centuries. There's some just spectacular joinery and beamwork in there. Down here is the road to the two Easter fields. And there, down this road here, you can't really see because that tree is in the way, and the pond is down there, but it's summer, so it's hard to see through all the greenery. When you go through these fields onto the other side is how you get to the flats in Princess Rock, which hopefully I'll have time to show you a video of that later. There are the solar panels over there. It's a 25 kilowatt system. It makes about 10 times as much as any normal house would need. And if I was going to live here full time, I would connect them up as net metered. And then you would never have an electric bill, and you would get a check from the power company every month. This is the house. It's a modest house. It's a 3-bedroom. It's adorable. We love it. It's very comfortable. Down here is the art studio up those stairs. We have painting and a pottery wheel up there. Over here is the wood shop behind those garage doors with a table saw and planer. It's really nice to have a wood shop here because there's so much wood. There's so much wood, and I actually inherited a bunch of black walnut that the previous owner had cut down and given to me. This is the other side of the old barn, and in there is just a giant hayloft and some stalls for cows that we don't use. This is the wood pile underneath that overhang with plenty of seasoned wood, get you through many, many winters. That is the pole barn. When we got it, there were 20 horse stalls in there. We use it pretty much just for keeping stuff, and we park the tractor in there and the truck in there. This used to be a corral, but then we turned it into a vegetable field, and the dirt is just magic. You can grow anything in this dirt. But we've in the last few years let it go to grass. That tuft of plants right there in the middle is actually our bonfire pile. Every spring when we do spring cleanup, we get all the dead wood and we put it in a pile and we let it sit all summer so it gets nice and dry. And then in October or November, when it gets cold out, We do a giant bonfire and all the neighbors come over and we roast marshmallows and it's super fun. These two giant trees just happen to be the perfect size and distance apart for zip lining. Now though, we are going to what I think is the most spectacular place in the property. Going up this first hill. And on our right is another giant hay field. We have not mowed these. We let them go to wildflowers because they're just so beautiful. Down on this side is a historic road. That was the reason they built the house here, is because this used to be the road that went out to 209. And if you explore down there far enough, you can find little bits and pieces of the road. And there's a fallen stagecoach stop, which was a building you would wait in for the stagecoach to come. And you can find the foundation and the walls and even the fallen in roof if you go down there far enough. And that's on all the old maps. If you find any old maps of this house, you'll see that the road was there and the stagecoach was there. Now we're going up the hill, the first hill. Great for sledding in the wintertime. Fields up there. Where that tuft of trees right ahead is where we used to have our yurt. The yurt was a lot of fun. A lot of relationships started in that yurt when friends came up to stay with us. And now we're really getting to where I had always hoped to build a house. This plateau right here. So we're at the top of the fields. This is the highest point in the property and the highest point for pretty much probably any adjacent property. This is the top, and this is why you want to come up here, for that view. So those are the mountains in the distance, and if you come up here around sunset, it is just spectacular. We're looking due west and the sun sets right in between those two peaks. It's just gorgeous. And so we've had up here a geodesic dome for a few years that had a giant, I don't know, 20 or 25 foot bay window, and we pointed the window right out at those mountains. And we would just come up here before sunset, sit on the couch, and just spectacular. We also put a prefab house up here once that had a wall of windows facing that way. It was just beautiful. It was spectacular. So that's the tour of the property. Yeah, I guess in those woods is just trails. If you follow the trails far enough, eventually you get to the beaver dam, and after the beaver dam is the rail trail. And those woods in that direction are the pine forest. Those are new growth pine, and for whatever reason, because of the soil or the topology, they're really thinned out, so there's no underbrush. You can just walk through them. It's pretty cool in there. All right, that's the tour. I hope you liked it.